insignificant when it comes to food insecurity affecting 27 million people. Every year, the country spends billions of dollars on food imports. In order to initiate a total transformation of agricultural sector, an economic, social, and environmental issue, Kinshasa hosted its first agribusiness forum. In the forum, the government is aiming for a 10-year strategy that involves boosting farmers' productivity, developing energy and transport infrastructures, and strengthening the human capital of the sector. Let's find out more.
Yes, and I'm a believer of the potential of this country for the obvious reason, for the natural resource, for its location globally. I think within the next few years, maybe in the next decade, we're going to see something close to what happened to Brazil 20 years ago. A huge development on agriculture and food. I'm an enthusiast.
Now to Kenya. In an effort to combat the hoarding of hand and hard currency as the Kenyan shilling approaches the 155 mark, proposed measures could impose fines of up to 10 million shilling on companies found excessively stockpiling dollars. The Kenyan shilling has lost 20.3% of its worth against the US dollar since the beginning of the year, and by more than 31% since the beginning of 2022. The depreciation of the shilling has been attributed to individuals and business stockpiling dollars. In Gabon, a country in Central Africa with a rich forest cover has taken a major step to fighting corruption and promote sustainable forestry by launching a cutting-edge timber traceability system to track all timber products from the stump to the port. The system is expected to significantly impact Gabon's forestry sector, helping to reduce illegal logging and deforestation. The system is also expected to positively impact forest communities and the environment. In Tanzania, the government of Tanzania is currently in a favorable financial position, which puts them in an ideal situation to finance their budget. Tanzania achieved a record tax revenue of 6.57 trillion shilling in the first quarter of 2023-2024 fiscal year. Tax collection for July to September showed an 11.05% increase from the previous year. The success is attributed to economic growth, including booming tourism industry and industrial production in the country. Back home in Nigeria, many petroleum products depots are currently deserted due to lack of products caused by foreign exchange rate volatility, as the landing cost of premium motor spirit PMS, popularly called petrol, has increased to 720 naira per litre, according to oil marketers. Petroleum products dealers also stated that filling stations were shutting down daily in large numbers, as it was becoming increasingly tough to run the business. They said this could lead to widespread fuel scarcity in the coming months. The landing cost of PMS into Nigeria had increased to 720 naira per litre, up from 651 naira per litre in August this year, according to reports. Still looking at businesses in the country. The federal government on Thursday opened the bids submitted by bidders for the procurement of 1.25 million meters financed by the World Bank at $155 million, an equivalent to 119.74 billion naira. Senior government officials said the move was based on the directive of President Bola Tinubu to halt the estimated billing of electricity consumers by power distribution companies across the country. The meters were to be distributed to discos at reduced cost to ensure massive deployment under Phase 2 of the National Mass Metering Program of the government. Still in Nigeria, the Nigerian Infrastructure Development Fund has added 92.55 billion naira to the market capitalization of the Nigerian Exchange Limited (NGX) with its listing on Thursday. The listing was commemorated with a closing gong ceremony and a facts behind the listing presentation at the NGX. NIDF is the first and only infrastructure debt fund dedicated to and domiciled in Nigeria. The NGX said that the NIDF is a 200 billion naira public infrastructure investment fund. It is managed by the Chapel Hill, Denham. Finally, from the Nigerian scene, the managing director of the Nigeria Deposit Insurance Corporation, Mr. Bello Hassan, said it has paid about 1.08 billion naira to 29,575 depositors of recently closed microfinance banks and primary mortgage banks. He disclosed this while giving his speech at the 18th Abuja International Trade Fair on Thursday. Noting that payments were still ongoing, he said depositors with funds exceeding the insured limit would get the liquidation dividends after recovery of debts and sale of physical assets of the closed banks. We'll go on a short break. When we return, we'll be talking about global economic statistics all around the world, and afterwards we'll look at the different markets in the world. Don't go anywhere.
How do other languages accommodate non-binary people? In the English-speaking world, they and them are by far the most common pronouns for non-binary people. But other languages don't all have it quite so easy. Around a third of the world's languages use grammatical gender, in which nouns are typically sorted into male and female, or masculine and feminine. For example, in French, la table, the table, is feminine, and in German, der Schlüssel, the key, is masculine. But languages with grammatical gender pose a problem for those who don't identify as male or female. So they are coming up with some innovative solutions. Spanish is one language where activists have come up with a fairly elegant solution: the use of the ending a on nouns and adjectives, rather than the usual o for masculine or a for feminine. And the pronoun ella has been invented to be the equivalent of Spanish's they or them for non-binary people, because it closely resembles both él for he and ella for she. And in Swedish, the pronoun hen is gaining ground as a neat compromise in pronunciation between han for he and hon for she. But some languages are easier to tweak to accommodate non-binary people than others. Mandarin has just one word for both he and she, which is ta. So far so good, right? Not exactly, because in writing they have different characters. Some non-binary people have begun using the Roman letter X joined with the Chinese character, or even the Roman letters T, A. But there's little consensus, and many people feel that relying on the Roman alphabet is suboptimal and unnatural. And in other countries, non-binary people don't have it so easy either. French and German, for example, like Spanish, have grammatical gender absolutely everywhere, but they don't have such easily available fixes. It may be some time before there are elegant and usable solutions.
Welcome back. It is Business 360, and my name is Blyden Ukem. Now to economic statistics all around the world. Economic data. We'll begin with India. The Reserve Bank of India, RBI, kept its benchmark policy, repo, at 6.5% for the fourth consecutive meeting in October 2023, in line with market expectations. Policymakers said that the decision remains to align inflation to the RBI's tolerance range of 4% positive or negative 2% while supporting economic growth. India's annual inflation eased to 6.83% in August from a 5-month high of 7.44% in July amid moderating food prices. Meanwhile, the Reserve Bank of India's Governor Shaktikanta Das announced the central bank's decision to leave its key interest rate unchanged. He spoke in a live stream address from Mumbai. Let's hear from the governor.
A detailed assessment of the evolving macroeconomic and financial developments and the outlook, it decided unanimously to keep the policy repo rate unchanged at 6.5%. Consequently, the standing deposit facility, that is SDF rate, and the bank rate remain at consequently the standing deposit facility rate remains at 6.25%, and the marginal standing facility, that is MSF rate, and bank rate at 6.7%. The MPC also decided by a majority of 5 out of 6 members to remain focused on withdrawal of accommodation to ensure that inflation progressively aligns to the target while supporting growth. Now, you may say that this is a status quo policy. Yes, to the extent that the rate and the stance remained unchanged.
Now to the world food prices. World food prices is at over 2-year low. The FAO, Food Agriculture Organization Food Price Index, edged lower to 121.5 in September 2023, the lowest since March 2021, from an upwardly revised 121.6 in August. And prices for vegetable oils were down 3.9%, a second decline due to lower prices across palm, sunflower, soy, and rapeseed oils. Palm oil prices continued to decrease amid seasonally elevated production in major producing countries in Southeast Asia. Also, dairy prices decreased 2.3%, a 9th consecutive fall. Meat costs dropped 1%, led by a fall in pig meat amid weak import demand from China and ample global export availability. On the other hand, a cost increase for cereal 1%, prompted by a 5.3% rise in coarse grain and its prices, namely maize 7% and whole wheat, fell 1.6%. Sugar prices soared 9.8% to reach a November 2010 high amid increasing concerns over a tighter global supply outlook in the upcoming 2023-24 season and forecasts pointing to production declines in Thailand and India. Quickly, let's look at the charts indicating World Food Price Index, the charts this morning. According to statistical outcome coming out for a 1-year period, we've seen that 135.4 index level was the price of food globally in October 2022, but the prices began to drop to 130.2 in January this year, as it's been that steep decline. By April, it had gotten to 127.7, and July 124.1, and currently 121.5, the lowest price level in 2 years. To Philippines. The unemployment rate in the Philippines fell to 4.4% in August 2023 from 5.3% in the same month the prior year. It was the lowest jobless rate since May, as the number of unemployed persons came in at a 2.21 million, down from 2.68 million in August of 2022. Meanwhile, the number of unemployment was posted at 48.07 million, up from 47.87 million the year before. The services sector indicated 57.3% accounted for the largest share of employment, followed by agriculture 24.5% and industry 18.2% the sectors. While the labor force participation rate dropped to 64.7% from 66.1% a year earlier in Philippines. In Africa, the Bank of Uganda decided to keep its benchmark interest rate unchanged at 9.5% during its meeting on October 5, 2023, amid increasing signs of easing inflationary pressures. Governor Michael Atingi Ego stated that the current monetary policy stance will contribute to keeping inflation around its medium-term target, supporting economic stability. Uganda's annual inflation eased for the 8th consecutive month to 2.7% in September 2023, the lowest since January 2022 and down from 3.5% in August. Meanwhile, economic growth is projected to remain strong in the coming months, boosted by investment in the extractive industries, finance, by foreign direct investment and higher export earnings. Let's move to the commodity market and see what the prices will be for the commodities. Looking at palm oil as the future hits 15-week low. Malaysian palm oil futures were below 3,600 Malaysian ringgit per ton, slipping to their lowest level in 15 weeks, while pointing to an over 5% slump for the week, pressured by falls in demand from top buyers such as India and China. Edible oil imports by India plunged 19% in September from August as refiners reduced purchases by 26% after inventories jumped to a record. Meanwhile, customers from the mainland have put off the buying due to Golden Week holidays and Easter outlook in top producer Indonesia. The industry association experts and they expect only a 5% rise in the output of the commodity this year. Well, last week, Jakarta raised its crude palm oil reference price to $827.37 a ton for the October 1st to 15 period. Let's quickly move to the market itself and see what the prices for palm oil and other agricultural commodities would be, and afterwards we'll look at the metal market. Palm oil this morning have shown some positivity for soybeans, $1,283 per bushel, upward by 0.23% appreciation. Wheat price is slightly downward by 3.27 points, lumber downward by 10 points, palm oil dropping 11 points this morning. Current price 3,596 Malaysian ringgit per ton. Let's look at further markets, what the prices are in the market and the standings within it. Well, the price of coffee is downward by 0.4 points. It's that conversation for cocoa 13 points and rice dropping slightly. Let's look at the metal markets and afterwards industrial commodities. Metal market have shown some positivity this morning, but the volatility level is quite low. Crude oil, $82 per barrel, that's the US crude. But for Brent, which is Nigeria's price benchmark, our current price is $84, 20 cents per barrel, upward by 0.13 point to 0.15% appreciation. Natural gas, gasoline, heating oil, a little here, a little there. The industrial commodities. The industrial market would give its different outlook, but first let's talk about the metals. Okay, the industrial market. 3,973 is the price of bitumen in the market, moving upward to 42 points, 1.07% appreciation, while cobalt price feet week consistently, no significant difference in the price of cobalt. Lead is upward by 29.75 points, aluminium gaining 2.5 points this morning, and as a story, tin price is upward by 72 points this morning. And for the markets, the metals, the price of gold and the rest. Gold price gaining this morning 2.44 points, $1,822 per ounce is the price of gold. A silver gaining slightly this morning, copper similar story, but steel price is upward by 18 points. Current price for steel is 3,670 Chinese yuan per ton. Now to the foreign exchange market. We'll be looking at crypto insights. A watershed moment for Bitcoin. Bitcoin starts the fourth quarter, and it's been a conversation with enthusiasm as the cryptocurrency has rallied almost 5.5% since mid-August. Can Bitcoin carry this momentum even in a higher for longer scenario? Let's have insights by Jim Laurie regarding this.
Bitcoin has rallied almost 5.5%. Now, what's odd about the move is that during the same time period, the US dollar rallied almost 4%. 10-year yields have gone from 4.2% to 4.8%, and perhaps most importantly, risk assets across almost all sectors are trading lower. This particular confluence of events is quite unusual for Bitcoin, as it's normally extremely rate sensitive. Now, Bitcoin advocates will argue that this is a watershed moment in the Bitcoin's history and that it's finally fulfilling its destiny as a non-correlated hedge against market disruptions and confusion. Now, others may simply point to the fact that the process of broad adoption by some major financial institutions in the past year, including the approval of a Bitcoin ETF, continues to support the price of Bitcoin. Bitcoin dominance within the entire crypto space continues to hover near 49%. That's up from 38% just last November. Interestingly, Bitcoin implied options volatility has been on a steady decline since November, having gone from 100 to a current level of around 40.
It's been a steady decline for Bitcoin, but let's move to the market itself and see what the price is for the digital coin is this morning. The cryptocurrency market first, and afterwards we'll look at the currency pace. Our Bitcoin price this morning is upward by 235 points, but it's been a huge decline for a long time for it. But on a weekly basis, Bitcoin has gained 2.96 points, or percentage appreciation rather. Current price for Bitcoin, $27,718 US is the price of one Bitcoin. Ether's price is $1,634 US, upward by 17.91 points, a 1.11 percentage appreciation. Binance, a little here, a little there, Cardano, Solana, and Ripples. That's the story. Let's look at further markets. What's happening regarding the euro against the US dollar? A price level for the euro opposing the US dollar, it's 1.05 points, a slight gain in the morning market. The pound against the US dollar, it's currently at 1.22 point mark. Let's look at Naira's perspective against the majors. The US dollar against the Naira and the pound against the Naira. 761 Naira 54 kobo equals 1 US dollar at the international and exchange window at the opening of the market today. But the closure of yesterday's market indicates 785 Naira equaling 1 euro, a gain of 1.59 points for the euro over the Naira, and 907 Naira equals 1 pound at the international exchange window, a gain of 1.732 points mark for the pound over the Naira. Now quickly, let's move to the parallel market and see what the price is for Naira in exchange of the majors would be in the parallel market this morning. There's been recent improvement for the Naira, moving away from the 1,000 point mark. Current exchange level is 997 Naira equaling $1 at the buying rate, and selling rate 985 Naira to the dollar. The pounds to Naira indicates 1,245 Naira equals 1 pound. The buying rate and selling rate 1,230 Naira. A euro to Naira also shows 1,045 Naira equals a euro at the buying rate, and selling rate 1,030 Naira to the euro. Here we draw the curtain on today's edition of Business 360 and the antecedents that comes with it. Thank you for being a part of it. My name is Blyden Okem. It's always that pleasure.